Gina Dobson. I'm a writer and actor, mother of 2 grown children, survivor of extreme domestic violence, and I'm also a fellow. In 1998, carrying only my 1-year-old son and a piggy bank of change, I fled from the man who had said if I never left, he would kill me in front of our child. 2 weeks after my escape, I was arrested for murder. My abuser had called the police and reported the miscarriage I'd had 5 years earlier in college was not a miscarriage. It was a murder, a live birth that I had extinguished with my own hands. When I told the detectives that questioned me that I had been abused and beaten for years and threatened at gunpoint, they didn't believe me because I had no evidence. They did believe my accuser, who also had no evidence. A man who had been in jail off and on and had a reputation of filing false accusations against others who he felt had wronged him. He had no evidence, and he wasn't even present or knowing me at the time of my miscarriage. I was extradited from Virginia, where I was living, to the state of Illinois, where I had the miscarriage. I was bound around my waist with chains and my ankles and my wrists, and oftentimes placed in a small cage on a van for 10 days. I was exchanged between these transport vans that were overstuffed with other prisoners. We were all treated like cattle, given only a small cup of water and a McDonald's hamburger for each meal. That was to prevent us from vomiting or going to the bathroom. The prosecution team that waited for me in Macon County, Illinois, wanted to make an example of me. So they placed my bail at $3 million to assure that I would have to stay behind bars while my abuser was free to pursue custody of our son. After months behind bars and waiting for a trial in a town that carried headlines calling me the murdering mommy, I was offered a deal. The plea bargain was the only guarantee that I had that I would be free to go home and raise my son. All I had to do was plead guilty to a lesser felony, concealment of a homicide without a body, a homicide that never happened. As a mother, I was more than ready to do whatever necessary to protect my son. But of course, I had a mother as well, and she said, you cannot say you are guilty of something you didn't do. She said, we're going to fight this, and everyone is going to know the wrong that happened to you here. And you know what I said? I said, Mom, I just want to go home. I want to go home and pretend like this never happened. I did take the plea bargain, and I left Illinois, and I went back home to Virginia, my husband, and we raised our family, and it was good. But what I've come to realize, that my mother was right. 25 years later, my daughter is reaching the age that I was when I was chained to a bench in a police station wearing only my nightgown. It took a long time, but now I understand what my mother was trying to say. I lost the right to protect my living child or to grieve the loss of another without subjugation. I lost the right to be innocent until proven guilty. The right to a fair trial without the coercion of politics or media. I lost the right to be heard. And this was 25 years ago, guys, before the laws were being put into place to allow the tightening of and tightening restrictions on women that are happening now. My story is not about me. It's about my daughter. It's about your daughters and our mothers and the women who have their rights and their autonomy and their safety and their dignity threatened right now in so many different ways. It's about all of us. My grandmother used to say, no one's going to know the difference in 100 years, that it's not worth getting fired up about. But I think it's time to get fired up, because when we're quiet, or when we step aside from our rights, it makes it so much easier to take more of them away. And then we're just one step closer to being silenced.